Good evening, Twali. What we're asking in the letter, well, is that the police, and I listened to your previous guest, I couldn't agree with her anymore, that the police must expedite this investigation and they must lead to the arrest of a suspected perpetrator, and that person must be put on trial. We're sitting 5 months after this rape of this little girl, and the police don't appear to have made a breakthrough. But we also point out in this particular letter that there appears to be glaring gaps in the investigation. We point out in significant detail the timeline that has been provided. And the only inference that one can draw, if looking at the timeline, is that this rape did not take place at the school. So that's an avenue investigation we point out. We also point out and we address this public allegation that's being made that Mr. Pieterse has not cooperated with the police. There is evidence of the meetings that have taken place not only between Mr. Pieterse and senior police officials, including generals in the Eastern Cape, from last year, that he has fully cooperated, and so is the board from the school, in the investigation. The difficulty we find ourselves in here, and I just want to be clear on our role as well. We were approached by Mr. Pieterse not as defense. Our office does not act as a defense officer. We do not defend accused persons. He approached us because he was receiving death threats online after being falsely accused of covering up this rape that took place in October last year. We first met with Mr. Pieterse at the beginning of February, and he sought advice on whether or not he could pursue criminal charges against the people making those allegations. It was subsequent to that he got hold of our office and said that he'd been approached by the investigating officer with a request that he provide a buccal sample. That's a swab from inside your mouth for the DNA purposes.
Yeah.
Mr. Pieterse asked the investigating officer whether he's a suspect and whether this was part of procedure. The investigating officer confirmed to him that he is not a suspect and that it was not part of procedure and that he was doing this request at the behest of the mother. It was then that he told the police officer, listen, I just want to take legal advice. We then wrote to the investigating officer, and we've made these letters public.
Yeah.
We wrote to the station commander at Matatiele, and we said, this is the request that's come in. Our client has cooperated with the police and is more than willing to cooperate with the police in obtaining the buccal sample, but please, can you follow due process? We have not heard back from the police. They have not responded to our queries. Yet there's this suggestion that the principal and anybody related to the school is not cooperating. We point all of this out in our latest letter, and we ask the police to please do what is expected of them.
Yeah. What has the principal told you as AfriForum about what actually happened at the school back in October last year, and subsequent to that, how he handled the complaint from the Cwecwe family or from the little girl's family?
Well, first off, he wasn't at the premises on that afternoon that the rape allegedly took place. Bagview College has got 3 campuses. The one campus is for grades 1 to 3. The other one is 4 to 7. And then the last one is for the high school kids. So there's 3 different campuses. His office is at the high school. This little child was picked up on the afternoon at the grades 1 to 3 campus. So he had no involvement in that whatsoever. However, he does say, and the police must have this knowledge, is that there were 4 employees at the location where the little girl was picked up. It was 3 female teachers and the groundskeeper, who I'm sure you've heard from reports has also been implicated in the matter related to the child. The principal only got word of what had happened the following morning, and it was immediately that he initiated the various steps to engage with the mother, and as well as the relevant parties in the department. All of this is contained, and there's a significant timeline that goes on from there.
Yeah.
There was a report that was actually submitted, requested by the Department of Education in December for a full report on everything that has been provided. And that was provided to the the circuit manager, that's it, in the Eastern Cape in January this year, which sets out in full detail everything that had been done, as well as the interactions between the school and the SAPS.
There is another important question, Barry, and it's around due diligence by AfriForum. And I think I heard you moments ago, you're saying you don't necessarily represent this principal legally. Did I hear you correctly? You're not a legal representative of the principal, or am I mistaken?
No, we legally represent him, but we're not representing him as a defense counsel. We say in our latest letter as well, Collier, and we make this clear, if there's any evidence to suggest that Mr. Pieterse is linked to an offense, we walk away. We're prosecutors. We don't defend people. We are representing him in the capacity that he approached us in order to pursue criminal charges against people who had made death threats and defamatory charges against him.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why we say clearly he's not a suspect. He has never been regarded as a suspect. We do not represent suspects.
Okay. And I'm glad you've clarified that, because then the question, I guess, is appropriate as to the due diligence that you have taken here now that you represent him legally. And I'm saying, what due diligence have you taken given your public stance that you will never defend anyone accused of rape? At this point, it does seem that this case is quite murky. On the one hand, the principal is said to not be a suspect, but there are some publications that are carrying the comments of the police minister who seems to suggest that the principal is a suspect. Last night, I had a conversation with the MEC of Education in the Eastern Cape, Fundile Gade, who is clear that the principal is a suspect. If anything, there is going to be more revelations about other cases that will possibly follow this one. So the question is due diligence. Have you done your due diligence to ensure that you are indeed not representing someone here who is accused of rape?
Absolutely, Goy. There's no evidence that ties Mr. Pieterse to A, the location where the rape allegedly took place, nor is there, to be honest, there's not even evidence to suggest that the rape took place at the school. We make out in details in our letter that if you follow the timeline provided by the mother on how things unfolded between the 14th and the 16th of October, that the child did not report any discomfort or pain on the afternoon of the 14th, nor did she report on the morning of the 15th, nor on the afternoon of the 15th. That evening of the 15th, there was a party at the family's house where they were celebrating the youngest child's first birthday. The husband, the mom says, it's in interviews. Yeah. The husband slaughtered an animal and they were having a feast, is her words that she used. It was during that party that the child first reported having pain and difficulty with her bottom, and that she couldn't go to the bathroom, and it deteriorated overnight to the point that the child couldn't walk, and that is the point that the child was taken to the SAPS. The only inference, and we say this in our letter to the SAPS, and we tell them that this is an angle that they need to pursue, the only inference is that the alleged rape did not take place at the school.
Barry Bateman, thank you very much for your time, and thanks indeed for affording us your time.